You have sat in every leadership meeting but never once been asked for your opinion. That silence is the gap. A senior director walks into a board meeting. She's prepared 40 slides. She knows every detail of her project. 15 minutes in, the CFO interrupts with one question she didn't expect and she freezes. Not because she didn't know the answer, but because she had never learned to think the way a board thinks. Most professionals spend years mastering execution. Almost nobody teaches you how to operate at the level where decisions actually get made. Today I'm going to walk you through exactly what separates someone who is good at their job from someone the board actually wants in the room. The first shift is brutal, and most people resist it. You have to stop being the person who does the work and become the person who decides what work matters. Early in your career, your value comes from execution, shipping projects, hitting deadlines, solving problems one after another. But boardrooms don't care about your task list. They care about trade-offs. Which initiative gets funded and which one dies? Where the company places its next big bet and why? A McKinsey study on strategic resource allocation found that companies who actively reallocate capital deliver roughly 40% higher returns to shareholders over a decade. Start practicing this now, even if nobody asked you to. When your boss asks for a status update, don't list what you completed. Frame it differently: here's what we chose, here's what we traded off, and here's why that trade-off serves the business. That single reframe changes how people perceive your thinking. Boards don't speak in project milestones or sprint velocities. They speak in risk, return, and capital allocation. If you walk into a boardroom and say we completed phase 2 on time and under budget, you'll get polite nods and move on. But if you say we reduced our exposure in the APAC market by 15% while maintaining margin targets, now you have the room's full attention. Learn to translate your work into financial impact. Every initiative you lead has a cost, a risk profile, and an expected return. Practice connecting your projects to revenue, margin, or competitive positioning until it becomes second nature. Read your company's annual report, not the glossy summary, the actual 10-K filing with the footnotes and risk disclosures. Understand what the board is measured on and what keeps them up at night. Their concerns become your vocabulary. This isn't about faking sophistication or using jargon to sound smart. It's about genuinely understanding the altitude at which boards operate. Executive presence is probably the most misunderstood concept in corporate life. People assume it means expensive suits and a deep commanding voice. That's theater, not presence. Real executive presence comes from 3 things: clarity, composure, and conviction. Clarity means you can explain a complex problem in 2 sentences without dumbing it down or losing the nuance. Composure means when someone challenges your recommendation in front of 20 people, you don't get defensive, you get curious. Conviction means you hold a point of view and you're willing to defend it with evidence, even when it makes the room uncomfortable. Watch how the best board members communicate sometime. They rarely rush through their points. They pause before answering tough questions, and that pause actually increases their credibility. They'll say "I don't know yet, but here's how I'd find out," without flinching, without apology. That kind of grounded confidence isn't something you're born with. You build it by putting yourself in uncomfortable rooms over and over again until discomfort stops running the show. You don't need to become a CFO. But you absolutely need financial fluency if you want a seat at the leadership table. Boardrooms run on numbers, not all numbers, but the ones that signal where the business is heading. Know your company's gross margin, operating margin, and how both have trended over the past 3 years. Understand the difference between revenue growth and profitable growth, because boards obsess over that distinction more than almost anything else. When you present an initiative, tie it to a metric the board already tracks. If your company measures customer lifetime value, show how your project improves it. If they care about net revenue retention, frame your work around that number. A Harvard Business Review analysis found that non-financial executives who demonstrate financial literacy get promoted into senior leadership roles nearly twice as fast as those who don't. The numbers aren't just the CFO's territory anymore. They belong to everyone who wants to lead at the highest level. The final piece is the one most people completely ignore. Boardroom readiness isn't just about skill, it's about trust. And trust gets built long before you ever set foot in a board meeting. Start by forming genuine relationships with people 2 or 3 levels above you. Not through flattery or awkward networking events. Through substance. Share an insight from your work that connects to something a senior leader cares about. Offer to help on a cross-functional initiative that gives you real exposure to how decisions flow at the top. Volunteer for the assignments nobody else wants, the turnaround, the messy integration, the market that nobody has figured out yet. Those high-stakes, ambiguous projects are exactly where board members notice emerging talent. Former PepsiCo CEO Indra Nooyi has spoken about this publicly. The leaders who stand out raise their hand when things are hard, not when things are easy. Proximity to difficult problems is what earns you a reputation for judgment. So here is what I want you to do in the next 10 minutes. Pull up your company's most recent earnings call transcript, it's publicly available and free. Spend 15 minutes reading through it carefully. Write down every question an analyst or board member asked during that call. Then ask yourself honestly, could I answer those questions about my part of the business? If the answer is no, you just found your gap. That's exactly where your boardroom readiness journey begins. Not with a title change or a promotion announcement, with a fundamental shift in how you see your own work and its connection to the business. You already have more of what it takes than you realize. Now go prove it. That's a wrap, thanks for watching. If this gave you one idea you can use today, hit like and subscribe. See you in the next one.